Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And today we're going to be talking about what do you do when you think, hey, I want to go into business, but I'm not sure what I want to do. And, ooh, that one over there looks fun. All those various things. So please join me in welcoming Cliff Nonnenmacher to our program today. Welcome, Cliff. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for involving me. I appreciate it.
Great. Well, let me tell folks just a little bit about you, and then we will dive into this. So Cliff Nonnenmacher is a lifelong entrepreneur whose journey began at the tender age of 8, selling golf balls outside country clubs. By 19, he launched what is believed to be the first food delivery subcontractor for McDonald's in the U.S., decades before that little company called Uber Eats. He later ran watersport concessions, owned a video store, and distributed the Fun Noodle nationally. At 21, Cliff took his self-built trading portfolio to Wall Street, landing a role at Morgan Stanley. In 2003, he transitioned into franchising and never looked back. Cliff has owned, operated, and scaled multiple franchise brands and helped develop others internationally. With over 25 years of experience in franchising, finance, and business, he now mentors aspiring entrepreneurs and franchise owners. Cliff is the founder and CEO of Franocity, I think I said that right, is the host of Pursuit of Profit, the #1 podcast in franchising, and is the author of Beyond the Brand, the Entrepreneur's Guide to Fearless Franchising. He lives in Delray Beach, Florida, with his wife, Nicole, and their son, Chase. So again, Cliff, welcome.
Thank you, Deb. Appreciate it.
Well, I always love asking my guests, how did you get to where you are today? Now, I do have a question. Those golf balls that you sold at age 8, did you come by them legally or did you sneak onto the golf course and help yourself?
You need to go 100% of the question.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Snuck in out of one desk. My parents knew, right? Because I lived in a neighborhood with the country club was in the neighborhood. So I would sneak on the course, run into what was called the middle woods, and just start scouring for balls. As I got older, I would use a clam rake, so I was getting most of the balls out of the ponds, right? The water balls that were fresh water balls. They were in there for a day or two. I'd rake them out, and as I got older and stronger, the rake would get wider and wider and wider, and bigger and heavier, and the teeth were longer. And I would just, I would at 8, I would do $100 in revenue on a weekend.
Wow. At 8, that's big money.
Just to put that in perspective, that's probably like an inflation adjusted number. That's probably over $300 today.
Wow.
It's 19, you're talking about 1980s. Right.
I love
So it's like a 3x multiple on a dollar right now. So it was,
you
it was
were
an
the
interesting
popular
time.
kid.
I honestly, as a young, I always had money when I was young. It was crazy. Yeah, my parents, it's like, if you want it, you buy it. And I did.
Right.
So yeah, it was an interesting time. I've always been entrepreneurial. I always enjoyed working, not just being like entrepreneurial. I always loved working. I loved being productive. I loved thinking and just creatively thinking and wanting more. I always wanted more. And my mom always said, like, that'll be your curse. You'll never be happy.
No, but I don't know that it's unhappy, right?
Well, she doesn't understand. So yeah, no, I'm absolutely, you nailed it. Exactly. Like from her optics, your personality, you will never be happy because it's never enough. That's just not true. I'm absolutely insanely happy. Like 0 meds, very happy, very fulfilled. I feel like I've given back to a lot of people. Yeah, no, I love what I do. I'm super passionate about it. So no, she missed that part. But I get, as a parent, I get what you're trying to say. Like, money's not everything. Like, come on, you're too young for this. be a kid, go play. So I guess her
Right.
advice was good advice. I just didn't want her to like doom me that I'm going to be unhappy.
Right. Well, and I'm a little bit older. I'm a lot a bit older than you. And and my parents were that generation of you get a job and you keep it forever.
Nailed it.
And I mean, like my husband, he just retired last year after being with one company. He was there 37 and a half years. And, switching from job to job, still people were like, what? What? You what? What? But even more importantly, I remember trying to explain to my dad owning my own company. And they, of course, thought it was a fad, a hobby, or whatever. And, 25 years later, still doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. What you just said is very interesting. You just highlighted like the American dream or the way.
Right.
And the way was college, corporate, climb the ladder, retire uncompromised. And that narrative, that blueprint is dead.
Right.
It's dead.
Right.
There is no such blueprint, and everything is going to be turned upside down with AI. So the path of college, these kids are in debt like 200 grand. They're living with their parents till they're 35. They're not starting a family. Like you probably had a child by then, right? Back in your generation. My parents certainly did. They had children in their 20s. Those days are over. The single greatest risk, people always want to talk about risk and define risk and all that. The single greatest risk right now to anyone listening is the fact that you have a paycheck.
Right.
That's
just
the single
one,
greatest risk.
Right.
That's right.
You're relying on one other, on somebody else to pay you.
You nailed it.
And we see that all the time. Now, before we really dive in, I want to, because this pertains to this, I saw on your LinkedIn profile something I have never seen, and I absolutely love it. The education section, right? So yours lists Real World Business School.
That's right.
And that applies to everybody, right? It also could say the School of Hard Knocks. But I love that you have taken the fact that, at least you don't list it, a college education.
That's right.
You didn't need it. You have become very successful, as you were just saying, without it. And I just love that concept.
I appreciate that. And I'm actually, in a strange way, I'm actually very proud of that.
You should be.
I'm self-taught. I don't need to spend, $500,000 or $100,000 to be spoken to at a university to get educated.
Right.
I subscribe to Goodwill Hunting. I got a phenomenal education for $1.50 in late fees at the local library, right? Like read, be a voracious reader,
Yes.
right? Learn. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You should be listening 2 times as hard, right? Like I come from that area. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly absorbing. I'm surrounding myself with intelligent people like you. I mean, I don't know that an entrepreneurial spirited person needs to go to college. It's like, what did that do? And mind you, I spent my entire life, as you know, in school, working with DECA, working with FBLA, and working with teachers. It's like, what?
Right.
Like, you don't even know what you're talking about.
You're a professor in your
Seriously.
own right.
Right. It's like, I'm listening to you guys tell me about business. Like, I'm more entrepreneurial. I feel like I had a higher degree of business and financial acumen than any teacher in any public school that I ever went to. So that was really the part where I'm going, now I got to go pay for it. And I got to take another 4 years. As soon as I graduated, my mom said to me, you go get it. You going to college, you get a trade, or you're moving out, because you're not going to sit here, right, and do nothing. And it's like, you know what?
You don't get to lay around on the couch.
Deb, I said, you know what I'm going to do? Because my mom was big on go see the world before you have kids and before you get tied down. So I bought a ticket to Europe. I got a train pass on the Eurorail. I spent over 3 weeks in Europe backpacking through, I don't even know how many countries. Call it like
And some
8.
of them aren't there anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I went through Checkpoint Charlie. Yeah, I went on. I was everywhere. And when I came back, I said, I'm going to start my food delivery business when I get back. And that's exactly what I did. And then from there, and that's the thing about being an entrepreneur. Everyone's like, man, like that's your idea. Yeah. It's crawl, walk, run. You start with something. It doesn't need to be fully baked, and it won't define who you are in your life cycle. It's one idea. I'm going to do food delivery. Yeah, that's it's not my first choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's not my last choice. Right. So it's just my first thing. And
Mhm.
believe it or not, I used to deliver food to a hotel. Every morning it was the McDonald's breakfast lineup, right?
Right.
Egg McMuffins, the big breakfast. I did 300 deliveries a day on that island, and I did 100 just for McDonald's.
Wow.
So I was delivering a big breakfast to this place called Club Regency on Marco Island, Florida. And the manager's there, and she looks at me and she goes, I see you on the road at 2:30 in the morning delivering hot wings to drunk people that left the bars, which is true. She was right. She goes, you're also sitting in front of me at 7 a.m. delivering a breakfast to me. She goes, I have a watersport concession in the back of the hotel. The hotel was on the Gulf of Mexico.
Right. And it obviously a big resort.
It was a beautiful place. And she said, our operator is not doing a good job. He actually was destroying the sea oats, which were federally protected. And the fines are tens of thousands of dollars. Right. So she goes, would you put a proposal in on taking over a beach concession? This is a true story. I go home and I say to my father, I go, what's a beach concession?
Right.
Like what is that? What is that? Like, how do I even put a proposal in on something? I don't even know what that is. I ended up getting the contract. I ended up scaling that business on Marco Island. I ended up taking over contracts for the Hilton Grand Vacation, and I opened up a satellite location in Long Beach Island, New Jersey. Again, they're stepping stones. Not one idea will define you, but it will give you the confidence to say, hey, like I started this thing. I'm running a food delivery business. I knew nothing about it. Do you have a college education? No, I don't. Do you understand P&Ls and balance sheet responsibility? No, but I'll learn. Right? I'll stay close to my CPA and I'll be like, educate me. And that was the one thing I did with all my advisors, attorneys, every professional advisor. I would say to them, I don't know this area. My favorite line was, I'm broadly ignorant, narrowly intelligent. That was my favorite line. I still use that line today. I'm broadly ignorant, narrowly intelligent. I'm really good at these things, but these other areas I don't know much about. Please educate me. And I told every advisor, I'm not just hiring you as a lawyer. I'm not just hiring you as a CPA. Like, you need to add value to my life. You need to protect me. You need to help me. You need to educate me. And they did.
Right.
They did.
And you clearly never said the word no. You said, why not?
Right, exactly. Right. I don't hear the word no. I think it's actually one of my favorite lines too, is that, like, because I view myself more as like a salesperson in terms of influencing people and branding and getting the name out there. No is not the death of a deal, but the beginning of my job. Right. If someone says no, it's like, okay, you clearly not understand the value prop. Like, let's talk about it. Like, how could you just be no if you don't even have all the facts yet, but you're a no? So you're exactly right. I like to say that there's tactful persistence in the face of rejection. You're just tactfully persisting and trying to get someone to understand where you're coming from, but also trying to understand where they're coming from. So I don't like, used car sales tactics. I like to truly immerse myself in the client's needs and understand their investment objective, their world, their concern, their phase of life, and then advise them from there.
Right. And no. And sometimes it is truly no, period, right? And I tell people no is an entire sentence. But in many cases, it's no, not now, or no, I need to know more. It's not the whole sentence.
100%.
It's give me more information.
100% agree with that. Most people, when they're outside of their comfort zone, they just shut down, right? It's like, I can't engage with you any longer.
Heaven forbid I admit that I don't know, right?
That's right.
And, and I think it's especially hard when people are talking about business and things like that, because we're supposed to know it all. Well, we don't know it all.
Exactly.
And so why not ask, like you said, whoever it is, I ask my CPA now, how'd you come up with that? Or what if, my husband's real big on asking that. Well, why not? What ifs and all of those questions, and because sometimes it always leads to more conversation, right? If somebody ever just tells, now, we're not three, right? We used to say why, and pretty soon our parents would say, because I told you.
That's right.
That's not going to work with me.
Right.
If I'm asking a question, I truly want to know the answer. And if you shut me down, then my answer is going to be no.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm. And I love that. Well, so rather than just opening kind of random businesses here and there, you got into franchising. How
I
did
did.
that happen?
So after doing all of it on my own, which was great, I wasn't creating wealth through the small businesses that I was owning.
Okay.
And of course, I wanted more. I wanted to run a bigger business. I wanted to do more. Well, I was making money at a young age. So I bought a satellite system. It was on the side of my house. So I had level 1, level 2 visibility, trading, right, bid ask side, and started trading and loved it. So I took my portfolio to Wall Street. As you know, I became an investment banker. Well, while I was there, I was part of a group. It was called Comprehensive Wealth Management. I had phenomenal mentors and partners, and we were big producers at the firm. And I asked our branch manager for a printer on our side of the building. I thought it was a reason. I thought it was a reasonable request.
Yeah. Now it
have
would have
to-
been a little more expensive back then than they are now, but still.
Yeah, this is right. This is like 1997, 8, right in that time frame. So he said, if you want a printer, you buy it. They had about 50 brokers. They had one networked printer. And if you printed something, it was inside.
Right. And you
it
had
was
to find
gone.
it and wait.
Oh,
and
good luck. Good luck. Right.
And
It
you
was
knew that
it was
Bob had
absurd.
picked it up and Bob was not going to give it back, right?
Totally. And we had Bob there, and I loved Bob. Right. So and not just that, the time waste of walking through, it's like, how was your weekend? What's new? What's going on?
Right.
People talking to you, the whole thing. It's like a productivity killer. So I ended up buying the printer. Well, I bought a big printer with a big cartridge so that the three of us can all print on this thing. And it was now time to buy the cartridge because it was empty, and it was $250 for the cartridge. I'm like, wow. Now you know why he said no. So I go, man. So I figured out, I got a soldering iron, and I attached a small copper pipe, the diameter of a penny. So just a little copper pipe that I cut, and I adhered it to the soldering iron, and I melted a perfect circular hole in the toner hopper, and I filled it up with a kitchen funnel with aftermarket toner.
Right.
Put a piece of electrical tape on it, put it back in the printer, and would you believe it, this thing printed another few thousand pages.
Right. Because it thought it had the original toner.
Exactly. So I said, okay, I went to Barnes & Noble. I bought a franchise handbook, and now I'm curious, is anyone in this business? And yes, I found a company in Australia that reverse engineered the ink, the anti-corrosive agents, anticoagulation, the dyes, everything. The secret handshake chips on the printers, everything was reverse engineered. So I ended up telling my partners at the firm, I'm going to buy this company, bring it to America. I'm going to open up these locations. I'm leaving the firm. And I did. That was my introduction. I bought the entire rights to, it was an Australian company called Cartridge World. I bought the rights to the entire state of New York and Connecticut and scaled 36 locations, sold the company, and moved to Florida, and then started another business there. But that was my introduction to franchising, was the Cartridge World deal and leaving investment banking, which I happen to love. But I wasn't an entrepreneur there. I was working for a large
Just
firm,
one of.
managed by lawyers. Right. I mean, it wasn't really for me. I need to be out on my own, doing my own thing, being creative and leading. So that's actually how I got into franchising, was a bad, I call it a bad boss moment, with a printer, and just said, this is time for me to leave.
Right. And of course, that's why so many people start their own businesses. They're tired of reporting to the man. They're tired of having to punch the clock, do all of those things. And they think, I've got a better idea. Exactly what you said. And so many people start their own business. I mean, I did that. I got downsized. I actually put my name on the list to be downsized because it was like, nope. And they told me if I left, they would be able, I was the department manager. They said they'd be able to save the people that worked, that, that reported to me. Well, that lasted a month, and then they let them go too. But, but we do that. And that's great. And obviously that's, so many people are so successful at that. But, there are also people who go, I want to do that. I want to be my own boss, but I don't want to start from scratch.
Right.
Which is obviously what franchising does for people. And it still amazes me that people don't understand that, the Papa John's, the McDonald's, the hotel, all of those various things that they are, are dealing with are franchises. I mean,
That's
some
right.
of them are owned by corporate, but many of those are owned independently. So, why do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, I think franchising is the single greatest wealth creation model ever created. I do, because you don't need to be Elon. You don't need to be creative. You don't need to be a visionary. You don't need to be a disruptor. You don't need to be a category creator. All you need to have is a desire to be successful. Are you coachable? Can you follow a proven model? Can you execute this blueprint, this roadmap? Can you manage your team? Can you have enough integrity and character that your team wants to follow you and do great things for you and help you build your brand? Now, it's pretty basic. It really is. If you think about how it is, it's absolutely elementary. The problem is, and I know I'm simplifying it, but the average person can't follow a proven. The average person can't help themselves but meddle. They can't help themselves but blame others. They can't help themselves but not be accountable for their wins and their losses. It's like shocking to me. And that's
And then
actually,
they go back and they work for the man.
and then they end up saying franchising business sucks. It's hard. It's this, the economy, my state, right? It's just all excuses. Meanwhile, there's 35 million small businesses in America, and it's the backbone of the country. People are doing fine. But yes, it's not a fit for everyone, that clearly.
Right.
But for the person that has a burning desire to make them like, you've been making other people rich your whole life. I mean, that's basically what an employee is. You're helping others create wealth. You're helping others build their culture. You're helping others go on vacation. You're helping everyone else retire. Like, what about you? Are you putting any thought into what you want? What are your investment objectives? What do you desire? Self-employment is a great vehicle to achieve whatever financial goals that you have, because that's all it comes down to: execution. It doesn't come down to creating a fancy marketing campaign, right? You don't need to create the $5 footlong. You don't need to come up with creative marketing. You don't need to figure out how to make a formula. It's already done. It's already done. It's like, do you believe in plumbing? Like, do you believe people need plumbing services in the future? Yes. Like, look at all the trades. Look at all these different, it's all in franchising. They have all of them. It's roofing, it's siding, it's painting, it's closet organization or custom closets. It's kitchen remodeling, it's bath refitting, right? And then it's senior care, and then it's pet care, and then it's pet boarding, and it's pet grooming, and it's pet training. And then it's science, technology, engineering, math, and youth enrichment. And then the next minute, it's like, well, I want to do a trampoline park. Wonderful. There are 4,000 brands. It's a $900 billion market. Like, you can't leave. You cannot leave. Right. There's not a listener on here that's leaving their house going on Main Street that's not going to pass several franchises, from UPS to Great Clips to Subway to a brand. It's everywhere on Main Street.
Right. And it's, again, why start from scratch when somebody else has done it? Now, there are people who say, "Oh, I don't like the rules that they impose." And I say that as in, like, you're told, okay, here's the marketing, here's the brand, here's the logo. Well, okay, if you want to do that on your own, then go do it on your own. But why not take advantage of the structure that has already created that?
Right.
And then of course, the really cool thing is, say you go, okay, well, I like this, and I like that, and I like this. Well, you can have 3 different types of franchise businesses.
That's right. You can. I don't necessarily advise.
That gets a little flaky.
Yeah. No. I mean, conceptually, what you just said makes total sense. Right. But then, and a lot of things make sense conceptually or on paper until you actually meet the real world. Like someone saying, we should sell hot dogs at McDonald's. Okay. You just say that. Everyone listening is like, yeah, why don't they sell hot dogs at McDonald's? Because this company, which is a multinational, multi-billion-dollar enterprise, has done the math to the right of decimal point of what it takes to include a new item,
Yes.
a new ingredient, what impact it has as an unintended consequence on the ordering process, on the drive-through, on the menu boards, on the outside menu board. Like all this stuff is thought through to the right of a decimal point, where the average person says, well, if I owned McDonald's, I would sell hot dogs. That's like, right, because you haven't done the math, you haven't run the numbers, and you really don't know what you're talking about. And I could say that again. And that's why franchise brands are like, look, here are the curbs. There's some freedom within this framework, but you need to execute these. You got to get the basics down. And the average person comes in to a franchise and they're like, well, I'm going to buy a Great Clips and I could do some tattooing in the back. That's not what we do.
No.
That's called brand confusion. Are you a tattoo parlor or are you a hair cuttery?
Right.
Like what's happening? You don't want to cause brand confusion. And franchises are very good at execution, branding, acquiring customers. What franchises are very good at are the three things that the average person does not obsess over. Franchises are very good. By the way, these are the only three ways you can build a business in this country. Number one, they're very good at acquiring new customers.
Yep.
Number one, if you're going to be self-employed, you must obsess over acquiring new customers. Number two, they're very good at increasing the frequency of purchase of the customer. You can't just get a customer and never see him again. You got to get him back.
To come back every
That's
week.
right. That's right. Exactly. Frequency is everything. And number three, they're very good at figuring out how to increase the average ticket. It's like you came in for this.
Right.
Would you like this? It's like I go to the post office. The post office is arguably one of the worst run companies on the planet, right? It really is. It loses billions of dollars. Even they will ask you at the register every time, do you need stamps?
You walk past
do you
the
need
gift
this?
card thing.
Right.
Yeah, all of that. Right.
Upsell, increase the average ticket. Those are the only three ways to build a business in this country. You acquire new customers, you increase their frequency of purchase, and you increase their average ticket. That's business. Franchises are good of obsessing over those vital few ways of doing it.
Right. Well, and part of the reason why, like people buy repeatedly is, they've got the recipe, and it's not just food, but I'm going to talk about food. I know if I go down the street and get a Big Mac, it's going to be the same as if I go all the way across Atlanta and buy a Big Mac and go up to New York and buy a Big Mac. Now, that said, if I go outside the United States, I think they don't have quarter pounders, if I remember right, something like that. But yeah, and so they do take cultural things into account. But in the U.S., a Big Mac is a Big Mac is a Big Mac. It's 2 all beef patties, yada yada yada, right? We all know the song. And but yeah, and so that's part of that. Is I'm also thinking, as that franchise owner, I don't have to come up with new recipes.
That's right.
I don't have to decide, what's going to happen this year, because corporate is going to say that. And they will have done the focus groups. They will have done the studies. Like you were saying, they know hot dogs aren't going to sell at McDonald's.
Deb, you bring up an important point. Like it's the little things that people don't understand that they're huge consequences. Here's an example. Franchising will tell you need to, these are your hours of operation. This is the number of days, these are your hours. It's like, why? Because the customer expects you to be open at these times. And once a person, like for example, would you dare go to Chick-fil-A on Sunday? Of course not.
No,
the entire world, no,
yes.
exactly. They are consistent. Has there ever been a time that you questioned the hours of operation of a Chick-fil-A or any brand on a Saturday at noon? It's like, it's a lock in your brain. You're like, they are reliable. They will be there. Now, what's interesting, small business owners, they have small independent business owners have a habit of throttling their hours of operation based on the volume walking through the door.
Right.
Like they will justify why we're not going to open up at 8 a.m. anymore. We're going to do 11 on Tuesdays. Once you start doing those little things, the customer immediately goes, you know what? They did something with their hours. Boom. That's exact. And you're out. You literally threw your customer into the arms of the brand that has consistency and continuity and brand, look, feel, hours, product, taste, service, delivery. You're done. And that's what small business owners don't get. They're like, it's really hard to compete against Papa John's. It's really hard to compete. No, it's not. It's that you've invented ways to self-sabotage your business because you don't understand business. You don't understand consumer behavior. Franchises get it. They get it.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
throttle your hours of operation and cause confusion with the
Right.
consumer. They'll
Oh,
go
yeah.
somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, you may want to have your independent pizza place, but match Papa John's hours or, whatever it is.
Delivery.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's interesting that, again, like I was saying, people don't understand franchises. 5 minutes from me, there's a Hardee's across the street from McDonald's, right? And I like Hardee's because I like their ham and cheese. It closed.
Yeah.
And of course, this made the Facebook page, right? The city Facebook page. What happened? Well, the mayor responded because everybody was like, "Oh my God, why did Hardee's close?" And he had a very good response. He said, because people said, "We thought Hardee's was doing well." Same thing with an O'Charlie that closed just up the street, right? And the response was, the corporate is doing well. Unfortunately, the franchise holder wasn't. And and so that's when you see those types of businesses close. It's not that now, yes, I'm old enough. I remember Shakey's Pizza. You probably never had Shakey's
No,
Pizza.
I never heard of it.
It's kind of a Midwest thing.
Okay.
And eventually those shut down. We also don't see a lot of, say, Pizza Hut restaurants anymore. They've changed with the times. And obviously, sometimes the whole big company does close. But for the most part, it's the franchisee that has, for whatever reason, had to shut down that business. And hopefully somebody will come in and put something else in that Hardee's spot. But, who knows?
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of dynamics at play right now, specifically in the food space that you're mentioning.
Right.
COVID
was hard on them.
COVID and inflate. When I say COVID, I'm really referring to post-COVID inflationary environment. Inflation, and a lot of states decided it was a good idea to really jack up minimum wage. And a lot of these brands cannot absorb increased minimum wage. And the consumer, because the answer is always the politician, like let's use California as an example. If California had their way with fast food workers, they'd be making $50 an hour. Now they're making over $20. $20 an hour.
That's a lot for a fast food worker.
$20 an hour to serve a hamburger. Yeah.
Right.
That's the starting conversation, by the way. 20.
Right.
Well, what's happening in California? Tens of thousands of jobs in the fast food space, what we call the QSR, quick service restaurant space. Right? The QSR space is under attack because those business models and their pricing models cannot absorb $20 plus minimum wage for someone to say, would you like large fries or small fries?
I'm not going to pay
you like
more
cream
than
in that
a
coffee?
buck for my Big Mac.
Right. It's absurd. And now the consumer is voting with their wallet and they're saying, you know what? And I see these videos on social media all the time. I just went through the Chick-fil-A drive-through with $30 for 2 people, $45 at Taco Bell. Like people are like, whoa, can you believe I just spent $40, $50 for 2-3 people at Taco Bell drive-through? And it's like, that's absurd. This is what's gonna happen to the food space, because you're gonna see more of these stories. This is my prediction with food. The dining section is gonna be dead. It'll be gone.
Right.
The future.
A lot of them didn't even come back from COVID.
You're exactly right. You'll have no dining section. It is going to be pickup and delivery, grab and go, drive-through only. That's the end of that story. Like, do not come in here. Like, come up to a window. A lot of it will be AI driven, and that's when food will regain its profitability, and people will want to put millions of dollars into brick and mortar, freestanding fast food businesses, because right now I think it's negative symmetrics, and I believe in asymmetrical investing, and this is negative symmetry. It just makes no sense. Spend $1 million, make 200 grand. Spend 2 million, make 150 grand. It makes no sense to me.
Right.
I want to spend 100 grand and make 100 grand.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's ever changing. And I mean, there are certainly things that affect long-term and short-term. They announced, they were talking on the radio yesterday. I'm in Atlanta, the home of Waffle House, right? They're on every corner. I love it when I moved here from Colorado, people would give directions and they would tell me, turn at Waffle House. I'm like, they're on every corner. It was not a good way to give me directions.
Right.
But they have now added, because of increased delivery charges, because of increased gas, all sorts of things, a 50-cent surcharge per egg. at Waffle House. And the guy on the radio said, he said, for my 3 eggs, that's $1.50. He said, now that's not a big deal to me. Is it a big deal to the person who has gone there and they've got 4 kids? Sure. I mean, that might have just added $10. And now, a lot of times, obviously, what we do is we see those prices revert back, and that's great. But, but I think that is the other thing that we don't always understand is we think, well, the Big Mac should cost 99 cents or whatever it is all the time. Well, but there are things that happen, in the outside world that affect the prices.
Inflation has reared its head in every area of our life, and food is one of them. And the grocery store, you can't go anywhere without really having sticker shock now.
Oh my gosh, I bought a steak the other day and it was like $21. And it was like, okay, we'll make 2 meals out of it.
Exactly. Look at red meat. I mean, look at anything. Now you're talking about a price increase on eggs. Look at poultry. Absolutely look at eggs. You can see eggs right now for $9 a dozen. I mean, yes, there's varying prices for eggs, but if you wanted a free range, certain farm, you could easily pay up to $9 for a dozen eggs. So that's one of the reasons why right now I'm not in food. I'm not promoting food. I don't work with food with my clients, is for that reason. I don't like negative symmetry. I like asymmetrical investing. So I'll focus on things that have fast break even, high margin, require very few employees, businesses that can scale very quickly, businesses that have proven to get through a housing cycle, an economic cycle, COVID, no shiny new pennies, right? No inventory, cash paid on demand of service, maybe even non-brick and mortar, no rent, no landlord, no construction. We're vehicle-based brands, maybe home services brands, pet-related brands. So I'm kind of in that camp right now. It will improve. We're just not there yet. They need to literally reinvent their model. And as I said, it needs to be eliminate the dining section, eliminate all that. It's all drama too. You got to clean it. They're fighting in it. The decorum of a customer. I don't know what happened to the consumer. There's a video every day of a consumer. Yeah. There's something every day where someone's punching someone in the face at a fast food place. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But we still have them, right? And that's the thing. They're just kind of adjusting. But of course, one of the things with a franchise along the same lines is they can buy at scale. They buy at bulk. They negotiate at bulk. So, the little guy on the corner might have this great little restaurant, but he is not able to buy very much at one time, or print very much or do whatever it is. And the franchise is able to do things where, it's a much bigger contract.
It's the facts. What you just said, this is what people do. They go, I don't want to do a franchise. Why? I don't want to pay royalties. You don't want to pay royalties? So
you want to negotiate with Farmer Brown.
Right. Exactly. So it's like, all right, so you're upset. Like, you're just myopically focused on the royalty, not the value the brand's bringing to the table to offset that royalty.
Right.
Well, give me an example. CertaPro Painter, 500 plus locations, average revenue is over 2 million. 2 million a year per location. Do you think they buy Benjamin Moore paint and Sherwin-Williams paint less than Chuck in a truck who paints one house a week? Come on. The purchasing power, the scalability, it's a force multiplying effect on your top and bottom line. Like the way they buy leads, the way they pay for Google AdWords, the way they lease vehicles. You think CertaPro Painter leases more vans than the regular guy down the street? Like, everything has purchasing power. Everything is when 1 + 1 = 4. And that's where brands say, we will easily make up for our royalty just in value. I had a guy on a call the other day, and it was like, in the property management industry, we need to use this specific software. I'm like, okay, it's very expensive software, and it's built to charge the entrepreneur per door. It's like, well, you don't just buy the software like you buy Microsoft Word. It's like, well, wait a minute, Deb, how many houses are you managing with this software? And you're like, well, I have 1,000, they call it doors. I have 1,000 doors. Oh, well, you're going to pay, $4,000 a month. So this franchise negotiated a rate so that all their franchisees can use this stuff, and they basically pay nothing for it. Like, just like that's thousands of dollars a month or hundreds of dollars a month in value by just the franchisor saying, I have a distribution channel of 350 franchisees. We all use your software. We're enterprise level. We want pricing. And they do.
Right.
Who wants to throw a 300 unit customer out of bed? Like, come on. This happens all the time. So you're absolutely right. People get focused on certain things in franchising and they're not really looking at big picture.
Right.
They're not running the numbers. They're not understanding the math.
Right. And a lot of times the people are well, I don't want to be told what to do. Okay.
Right.
Then don't. I mean,
that's a totally different issue. Yeah. Totally different issue. And in that example, I may say to them, you are not a fit for franchising.
Right.
Like that one statement, you need to like move on.
Right.
And do something on your own.
And that's where, you question a little bit more. Well, why don't, and if they come up with, I just don't like it. I want to be my own boss, yada, yada, yada. But there are still franchises that allow flexibility. And so maybe it's just that they have something different. And you mentioned there's 4,000, I believe you said, different types of franchises. So now here's my next question. So do I have to really be an expert in that field? Or, the example that you sent to me is urgent care center, right? Those are, a lot of those are, independently owned. Do I have to be a doctor to own one of those?
No. That's the thing about franchising and just being an entrepreneur in general. Like Elon didn't know anything about rockets. Elon didn't know anything about electric
still
cars.
Doesn't know anything about those things, but
right. So it's like, do I really need direct industry experience to be in these businesses? And the answer is no. What you need to do is believe in yourself and believe in the brand and believe in the product and service. Like, do you believe in medical weight loss? Yes. Do you believe that the country is aging? Yes. Do you believe the country is having more dogs than babies? Like, if you believe these, these investment theses, it's like, that's what matters. Now you're going to join a brand, senior care. It's like, have you ever cared for a senior? Only my mom and my grandma. Okay. It's like, well, now you're going to learn how to do it at scale using other people, caregivers, medical and non-medical, and we're going to train you and your staff. That's the beauty. And you're right. To exaggerate the point and to exaggerate the answer to that question, I tell people, you literally can own an urgent care center and not be a physician. You don't need any education to own an urgent care center. Now, Deb, can you and I, if we're not doctors, can we speak to the patients? No.
No, and we
can own.
For one thing, that's against the law.
Right. So what are you going to do in that example? It's like, look, I just bought an urgent care center and I can't even speak to my customers. First of all, I say good because I like working on businesses, not in them.
Right.
Once you start working in a business, you lose sight of literally everything. It's one of the reasons why the average doctor's office has what I call a window witch. It's just a mean person in the window. Like, you go to the window of these average doctors, it's like, man, you're just rude. Like, they're all that way. And the doctor's attitude is, I never asked to be a business owner.
Right.
I just want to practice medicine. But I find myself graduating with my doctorate. I find myself graduating medical school, and I'm being told, you need to open up an office and you need to run it. You need to be a business owner. Most doctors don't want anything to do with scheduling,
they don't want to
payroll.
hire people.
Yes.
That. Yeah.
Yes. They want to practice medicine and help people in the community. So how smart am I to own an urgent care center as an entrepreneur and hire the person that really just wants to be a patient advocate and help people? I think it's a perfect world. And that is exactly what the average owner of a urgent care center or anything medical. I mean, look at Medi weight loss. The average person's not a doctor. They're an entrepreneur and they hire physicians to prescribe appetite suppression, or semaglutides and GLP disruptors and Wegovy and Ozempic and so on. That's really like, you and I can't do that, but they can.
Right.
So yes, to your point, you need can you be a roofer? Yes. I'm not a plumber. Can I own a plumbing franchise? Yes. I don't know how to groom dogs. Can I own a mobile dog grooming business? Yes. And my follow-up answer to all of this is, and I never want you grooming dogs, and I never want you cutting hair, and I never want you speaking. I want you working on a business, not in it. It's not you're not buying a job. You're not buying a job. You're supposed to be buying a business that you could scale and execute, but through other people. And the business should never rely on your day-to-day involvement. And that is a huge issue with the average small business. You want to hear a startling statistic on a business show? 85% of small businesses for sale in America will never find a buyer.
Right.
85% of small businesses in America will never find a buyer. Why? Because most of those businesses are run by a mom and pop. They actually do the work. That means someone has to buy their job.
Right.
No,
and
no one
buy
wants
their
that.
brain.
That's it. Nobody wants it. The intellectual property has left the building. The employee's like, I don't know. They did everything. The husband and wife, they owned this company for 30 years. He drove the truck. She did payroll admin. She did sales. She did the internet follow-up. And it's like, what did I buy? You literally bought their job. And that's a horrible business to buy, and it will never find a buyer. The P&Ls are a mess. They never reported everything. The books are crap. They never use QuickBooks. Everything's written down on a pad. That there is no buyer. You have zero liquidity for that business.
Right.
And what you're seeing in America right now are millions of baby boomers trying to sell businesses that were run the way I just described, and no one's buying.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah, I mean, that would be like me trying to sell my business.
It's you.
It's me. And, and I've had people say, well, aren't you setting it up so you can sell it when you eventually want to retire? And I tell them, well, I'll retire when I die. But more importantly, my business is me. It is my personality. It is my knowledge. It is my expertise. Now, can I add people to it? Of course. But the business itself is me. Now, could it be restructured? Sure. But yeah, it's when I stop, my business stops. I mean, and I'm fine with that.
I ski a lot, and I have a home out in Park City, and I was skiing with a friend from Florida that was out there, and we were having lunch, and he was looking at me, and he goes, I envy you a little bit because you're here with me making money, and I'm not. And he was a seven-figure oral surgeon. And it really dawned on him that I can't scale one. It's me. Like, I am the business. And in my absence, that business makes no money. And there are people there. He's paying payroll for people to answer the phone and explain that the doctor's currently on vacation. He's going to be back on Thursday. Like, you know what I mean? And we're not going to do anything. And there'll be no revenue generated until he gets back. And it was like this moment where I even said to myself, that's exactly, if anyone listening wants to read a great book, it's by Michael Gerber. It's the E-Myth. It's the entrepreneur's myth. And part of the E-Myth has everything to do with this conversation. Work on your business, not in your business. Do not buy a job. Build a business that is scalable and that is saleable in the end through clean books, good P&Ls, employees that know what they're doing, so that the new owner can come in and just execute, scale it further, and get an ROI on that transaction.
Right.
And the average person can't do that.
No.
But that's what the E-Myth and E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber is all about.
Right. Right. So say they've decided, ooh, this does sound good, but it's got to cost a lot of money, right? Wouldn't it cost like billions of dollars to buy the McDonald's down the street?
Right.
How do people finance things like this without just, writing a check out of their personal account?
Yeah, it's a great question. If I were to generalize, if I took all brands and put them into two buckets, you have brick and mortar and non-brick and mortar. So let's start with, like, what is the average investment of a non-brick and mortar brand? Okay. The answer would be $200,000 all in. Okay, so what does that mean to me, the investor? You're probably going to have to put up 50 to 70 cash of your own money, non-borrowed money.
Right.
All right, I want to put a distinction.
Because you don't want to go in debt by going in debt.
That's right. Thank you. And the average person, believe it or not, doesn't understand that part. They're like, okay, I could go get that, and then I could go get that. No, that's 100% in debt. They only want you maximum of, let's say, 70% in debt. Right. So they put up 30 to 50,000, and then they can get an SBA Express loan for the balance, or they can lease the vehicles and equipment. There's leasing. There's also a strategy called a ROBS, an ROBS. The ROBS is using a qualified retirement plan to purchase a business.
Okay.
It's a zero taxable event. It stands for rollover for business startup. Okay. ROBS. The IRS affectionately named it. It's a stupid name.
I know. That's like we're robbing Peter to pay
I know.
Paul.
I hate the name. I hate the name. But it's their name. And if anyone's listening, he's like, what did he say? It's an ROBS rollover as a business startup. It allows you to use your 401k rollover, 457, 403b, SEP, simple IRA. It allows you to take a dollar for dollar distribution from those accounts, purchase a business, zero early withdrawal penalty, zero state tax, zero federal tax, and still maintain tax deferred status. It is the single greatest tax strategy ever because you're taking illiquid money and you're creating liquidity out of it. But more importantly, for anyone listening and says, well, I have $100,000 in my IRA, my first response is, no, you don't. 100 grand in an IRA means you have less than 70 grand in your IRA because 30 cents on the dollar belongs to the Fed and possibly another 5 to 10.
Uncle Sam is going to get a chunk of that.
Everyone thinks they have $1 million in an IRA. It's like, no, you have less than 700 grand. Like, it's like people still don't understand tax implications, right? Like, you're really, if you're going to retire uncompromised, you need to understand tax strategy, tax, efficiencies, and the tax consequences. So I like using a ROBS because I'm using 30 cents from the Fed, 10 cents from the state of California or New York, right? That's 40 cents on the dollar to speculate in this business. If it went to zero, I literally lost 60 grand. I did not lose 100 grand. I lost 60.
Right.
That's kind of how I look at it. And it allows the investor to use the IRA to satisfy the underwriting requirements with the bank because they don't view that as debt because it's your own liquidity.
Right, right.
Of course, we have SBA. Of course, we have secured, unsecured lines of credit. Of course, we have HELOCs. All the whole orbit of finance applies to buying a business. And Deb, it's never, I'm just going to pay cash. It's never, I'm just going to get a loan. It's always a hybrid deal. I'm going to take some cash from my checking, that liquid money, that after-tax money.
Right.
Some of them are going to do a little bit of a ROBS because they really only want to take out 70. They don't want to take the full 100 or the full 200.
Right.
Right. And then I'm going to do an SBA loan. So all these deals are a bit of a hybrid, and that's how we get to underwriting. We get a deal done.
Right. Right. And that's the nice thing because it is a little from here, a little from here, a little from here. And so somebody's not thinking, oh my God, I have to come up with $250,000.
That's right.
Well, you do, but it's going to be a little from here, a little from here, a little from there. And that's how this happens. So, we don't have a ton of time left. What's hot right now? What are things that, if you had 100 grand just sitting around, what or more, what are the things that are really trending, and I mean, some of the fast food places may or may not always be trending, but what's kind of out there that you're thinking, ooh, this is the next big thing.
Yeah. So we wrote about this in our book, Beyond the Brand. We actually list in writing like what's trending in franchising, how an investor can position themselves. Quickly, the trends that we're seeing right now, AI is going to be the most disruptive technology to an employee, right? Most employees don't know it yet, but they're probably not going to have a job. And the single greatest risk that an employee has right now is a paycheck. That's their greatest risk.
Right.
I call it the one-legged stool. We spent 100 years telling everyone to diversify their investments. We have not spent 1 minute on telling people to diversify their income streams.
Right. You still might have the job, but you need other sources of income.
Bingo. And I want to be part of that conversation. I'm going to give you 5 trends right now happening in franchising. Number 1, we coined it as the feminization of men in America. Let me explain. It means that men can no longer use tools, right? Parents told these, they can't.
Hammer? What's a hammer?
No, they can't use tools. They can't fix anything in their house. So anything involving tools. And the reason I also like tools is because robotics and AI do not have hand dexterity at the moment. They don't have the ability to come into your home and fix your HVAC system. They don't have the ability to fix a plumbing yet. They will. They don't now, which means you have the furthest distance from disruption. Next, under that category, if you had a 30-year-old male in front of you right now, they have half the testosterone of their grandparent. They have half the sperm count of their grandparent. So that category is men's health, testosterone therapy. It could be hormone therapy. It could be any business involving the use of tools. Number 2, we're not repopulating, right? We're buying pets and animals. The category is called the humanization of pets and animals. Dog boarding, grooming, daycare, training, you name it. Next is the silver tsunami. This country is aging rapidly.
Us baby boomers are getting old.
46. You're a 46 to 64 birth, right?
Yep.
Aging rapidly, turning 60 and 70 by the thousands every day.
But still very vibrant.
Of course.
I don't want a nursing home, but I don't want to mow my lawn anymore.
Bingo. Anything involving the silver tsunami services, whether it's building ramps, whether it's home care, whether it's medical, non-medical, companionship care, residential assisted living, uh, teaching people how not to fall, teaching people how to have their mobility,
Right.
assisted stretching, all of it. Next is going to be the pursuit of youth. Since we're aging, everyone wants Botox, they want semaglutides, they want to look and feel better, red light therapy, cold plunging, sensory deprivation, right? Cryotherapy. People want to feel, look better about themselves. They want their energy back. And last is youth enrichment. Anything involving our youth, whether it's teaching them how to weld, teaching them STEM, teaching them robotics, teaching them coding. Even though coding's not a future, at least as a youthful person, they know how to code. I wouldn't do a career in it because AI is literally
AI is
destroying your
gonna do it,
profession.
yeah.
You bet. I just had Claude build an entire website in 5 minutes. Stop. Like, it's crazy what Claude's available. So those 5 areas, feminization of men, right? The silver tsunami, the humanization of pets and animals, the pursuit of youth, and youth enrichment. If you go there, you have the furthest distance from AI disruption. You probably have a long runway and a very successful business. As you could tell, food is not in there.
Right. Yeah. COVID did make a major effect on food, but it was going to change anyway. So yeah, it's there. Well, oh my gosh, Cliff, this is so interesting. And it is something that I think so many people should consider and haven't. Now it still might not be for them, but why not at least ask those questions? So if somebody is ready to ask those questions, how do they find you and what are the services that you provide?
Our services are assisting people in finding the right opportunity based on their investment objectives. And shockingly, we do it for free because we're paid by the seller.
Okay.
So we work
Okay.
for your listener. If your listener called me, our services are free to the investor because we're compensated by the seller and we're compensated at their expense, the seller's expense. So they pay nothing. And they can visit our website to learn more at franocity.com, which is FRANOCITY.com. And they could get in touch with me there. We also have the book Beyond the Brand, and we have a podcast that is unique because we only interview founders of franchisors. So founders of franchise concepts. It's either the C-suite or the founder. We spend 45 minutes on the show unpacking their brand. So if you're ready or not ready, you have resources. I hope they give us a call because it's a very relaxed and casual process. And it takes months to do this, not days. You're not buying anything. I just want you to engage and learn about brands and see what's out there.
Right. And as you said, it is about that learning to think, okay, what is this going to take? What do I need to do? What can be expected? I mean, all of those various things.
Exactly.
Well, this really has been absolutely enlightening, and so much fun. And I think we need to have you on again to talk about the changes that come. And
Sure.
because next year things are going to be totally different. And a big part of that, as we said, is AI. Like they were talking, some of the things that AI can do, and things that they will be able to do. But yeah, I think that's so much fun, and we would love to have you on again. But until then, do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
I think I want to repeat, it's becoming my new mantra now. If you are a single paycheck, if you have a paycheck and no additional income streams, I think you have the single greatest risk that you've ever had in the 250 years of this country. The game has changed. The American dream has changed. Everything is about to change for you. You need to explore alternate income streams and literally obsess over, I need to add 2-3 legs on my stool, because if that one leg get kicked out from under you, it's going to be devastating. And a lot of people are not ready for what's about to happen. I have a client right now. She was making 160 grand a year as a data analyst with Mopar in Detroit, Michigan. She was terminated due to AI. She took her months to land on her feet. Ford finally picked her up, but they offered her 50 cents on the dollar. So the 160K she was making, they like, if you want the job, it's paying 80. She took the job at 80, and now she's being told, we're going to probably eliminate your role due to AI integration in the department, because AI can extrapolate data way faster than any human being in that department. Like, it's crazy. If you're a data analyst, if you write code, if you're in tech, I'm sorry, but you have a lot of risk. Please reach out to me and just explore what's out there and what you reasonably can manage while keeping that full-time career. What can you do on the side? I'm not asking you to quit your job. I'm saying add another leg on the income stool. The same way you diversify, you have to diversify income now. There's no security in corporate America any longer.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Well, I'm Deb Creer. I've been having so much fun talking with Cliff Nonnenmacher of Franocity. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.